Hey guys, it's Kevin, and this is going to be another classic movie review for you guys, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing, this is a movie that I've wanted to see for a while. That is the 1983, sketch comedy musical classic, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. Now, ever since I saw The Holy Grail, which, I thought was a fantastic movie, I love Monty Python The Holy Grail. If you have not seen that, it is pure comedy gold. Seriously, check it out, it's amazing. I have always been interested in to see what the other Monty Python films have to offer, that being The Meaning of Life and also Life of Brian, which I will probably also watch. I'd probably watch it next year. I'll probably do one Monty Python film a year, so I'll probably watch Life of Brian next year. But this movie I've always been very interested in for quite a few reasons, and I finally checked it out, and I have to say, The Meaning of Life is fucking hilarious. I love this movie. Seriously, this movie is hilarious. It's so different than any other movie you'll probably ever see, though. It's one of the greatest things ever, but it's probably one of the weirdest things ever. It's also one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Now, this is actually a very different movie for Monty Python because the other two movies had some sort of plots, and even though it didn't really make sense, it at least had, an actual plot. This, however, goes completely back to the roots of, like, Flying Circus and, what made Monty Python popular in the first place, their sketch comedy. This has various sketches. Essentially, the plot of this movie is, why are we here? It's supposed to tell us the meaning of life, why certain things happen in our life and the different encounters we have. Really makes no sense whatsoever, but it basically is supposed to tell us what the meaning of life is. So, it really is comedy gold, though. I absolutely love this movie. And there's so many things that just work so well in this movie. I mean, the thing you need to know going into this movie is that it makes no sense whatsoever. There's nothing in this movie that's going to make any sense. Don't look for something that makes sense in this movie because nothing's going to make sense. None of the sketches make sense. I mean, there's literally a sketch where a leaf commits suicide falls off a tree and basically commits suicide and all the other leaves follow it. It is as amazing and hilarious as it sounds. Seriously, it is that ridiculous. Um, but let's first get into what I really love about this movie, which was the acting. I gotta give applause to the actors because I don't understand how they can do this. I don't understand how they can completely take this seriously. Like, there's no point in the movie where you can tell they're trying to be funny. There's no point. I mean, something I love about the Monty Python movies is that they're playing it straight the whole time. They basically just say what they're saying as if it was in a regular conversation. I mean, it's completely ridiculous, some of the stuff that we see in this movie. But everyone does a fantastic job in this movie. The six main leads, Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin, they all do a fantastic job capturing the weirdness, and I don't know how they come up with these ideas, but they're honestly genius. Like, honestly, the comedy in this movie is genius. I would have never thought of it, but it honestly is genius what they come up with, and I think they do a fantastic job with their acting in this movie. Really, they all were fantastic, and that's really all I can say about the acting, because there's so many different sketches that there's really nothing else I can say, except the acting was great. The directing in this movie is fantastic, really. I love what this movie is trying to do. I love that basically they just did whatever the fuck they wanted with this movie. Because this was a sketch comedy, they did whatever the hell they wanted, and they didn't even care. Like, there is literally a part in the movie, and I'm not joking, where they stop the film and go to the middle of the film and basically do this thing called Find the Fish, where you find fish, and these fish are essentially what brings us to our main plot of, like, wanting to know the meaning of life and things like that, which I think was definitely very funny. I really do love that. And the sketches are completely ridiculous. Like, basically, it goes through like birth to death, and in the most ridiculous ways, and it's like different time periods and things like that. And they're all really entertaining, and that's because of the genius screenplay by all six of these writers. That's something I love, is that they all wrote this stuff. Like, this was all their own material. Nobody wrote it for them. They wrote it, and they did whatever the hell they wanted. That's why it doesn't make sense most of the time, because they did whatever the hell they wanted. And I think they just pulled it off perfectly, really. It was comedic gold. I mean, there are some sketches that are completely ridiculous, and they don't sound, and in any other, like, movie today, they'd be handled horribly. but because the way they handle it are so good, I mean, it's such subtle humor. It's not in your face humor. That's something I love about Monty Python. It's so like subtle. You have to listen to what they're saying to understand why it's funny, and you really have to focus on it. Like there are many comedies where you just have to focus on it. Most comedies, there's a joke and that's it. This, you have to really listen to what they're saying because you won't get why it's so funny unless you watch it. And here's the thing, some of the things they're saying do actually make sense. As ridiculous as this film is, there are points of the movie where they do actually have good messages. Like there's a part where this man, basically observes this Roman Catholic family, and he basically talks about how you shouldn't just have sex without, contraception, things like that, and how you should have contraception and things like that. And I thought that was really funny when he said that. And he does kind of have a point there. As ridiculous as it is, he does kind of have a point. And there's no point in the movie where it actually is serious, but they do kind of have some points which I thought were kind of funny, which I actually really enjoyed. I didn't expect them to do that, but I thought that was definitely very funny. To compare this to The Holy Grail, you just really can't because it's such a different movie, and there's really no actual plot behind it, and it's supposed to be ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but, and this is actually much darker than The Holy Grail. I mean, a lot of the humor is very, very dark stuff. I mean, there's literally a sketch that has to do with organ donations, and this man that doesn't want his liver, that they don't even put him, like, under, anesthesia or anything, and they just, like, start ripping out his liver, like, in front of these people. It's hilarious, honestly. They handled it perfectly. I love the way they handle it. They really do a great job capturing that dark humor. I think that's something that Monty Python is fantastic at, really. Um, Something else I really want to talk about are the musical numbers. Oh my god, this movie, it's a musical. There are actually a lot of songs throughout it, and the songs are completely ridiculous. You can tell that they're making fun of musicals. My favorite by far is Every Sperm is Sacred. Oh my god, that is one of the most epic things ever. Basically, think of like any musical where a father would sing to his children. Picture that, but him singing about something sexual and really wrong, and the kids are singing it too, and it's completely ridiculous. That's basically Every Sperm is Sacred. It's a completely ridiculous song, and it's hilarious as well. I love the random dance breaks. I mean, just the production, they went all out really with that, seriously. Just the fact it was one sketch, and they went all out just to get everybody to sing, and get everybody to, and again, they're all keeping a straight face, and it's hilarious. Every Sperm is Sacred is one of the funniest things ever, honestly. And I thought Knights of the Round Table and Holy Grail was hilarious. No, that is probably the funniest musical number they've done. There's some random musical number about, like, Earth and things like that. It makes no sense whatsoever. In the beginning of the film as well, that Meaning of Life one I thought was really funny. I definitely really enjoyed that. And just, also, the comedy is just so spot on in this. I mean, the sketches are so clever, and they're so funny. There's this, and what they have to say is actually really, really great. I really do love a lot, and I would go into grave detail about the sketches, but I really don't want to. So I'm just going to point out a few that I really enjoyed. There's this classic, there is a classic, sketch, basically, where there is this teacher talking to his students about sex ed. He's boring them to death, so he basically demonstrates to them how to basically do all this with his wife right in front of them on the bed. They're completely naked, and the boys are giving him weird looks, and he sees nothing wrong with it. That is a hilarious sketch. It's a perfect delivery, and I thought they handled that really well. I have to say, that was definitely very funny. Another one I really enjoyed is this one where it's World War I, basically, and they're basically trying to hide for cover, but they're so concerned, not about the war, but the fact that it's one of the officers' birthdays, and they proceed to basically eat cake while there's war going on. It's hilarious. It's as ridiculous as you can see. Something they do very well is really weird stuff, really awkward moments in very big situations. Like, they take a very big situation and they make it ridiculous, and they do a great job with that, and they do a lot of that throughout this movie and through the series in general. That's something I think Monty Python exceeds very well, and it always is funny. Really, it always is funny there. They always know how to find the funny in weird situations, and that's something I think they'll always do very well. Another one of my favorite sketches had to be Mr. Creosote. I mean, yeah, it's disgusting, and in any other thing, it would probably just be a disgusting sketch. But because the reactions of every single person in that restaurant, they know what he is doing is disgusting. But of course, the waiter sees nothing wrong with it because you can probably tell this is a guy that comes there a lot, and he's used to Mr. Creosote being there. But the people in the restaurant know it's disgusting, and they want to get the fuck out of there, and it's hilarious to watch. I mean, just seeing him and, John Cleese perfectly pulls that off as Mr. Creosote. He does a fantastic job with it, I have to say. I mean, just, it's completely ridiculous what he's doing. I mean, not John Cleese. John Cleese does a great job as the waiter, though, because he's, again, playing completely straight. But Terry Jones as Mr. Creosote is just, it's by far one of the funniest sketches in the entire thing. Also, I loved all the death sketches, especially when the Grim Reaper visits that family. And basically, he doesn't, he finds himself invited into a dinner party, and they don't even know who the Grim Reaper is. That was hilarious as well. The ending of the film was great. I loved how abrupt they ended it. I thought that was really funny. And I just really loved it overall. The editing was perfect, really. My only complaint with the film, and this really has nothing to do with the film, because it's technically not a part of the film, it's always shown with the film. I really didn't understand the point of the prologue, the Crimson Permanent Assurance. I get the idea of it, but it doesn't have to do anything with the film. I didn't find it funny. Now, again, nothing in this film makes sense. There is that. But this, I just didn't find it funny. I didn't. I found it kind of boring. I mean, it's 15 minutes long when most of the sketches are 6 minutes, and it's way too long. I didn't really find it that funny. I didn't really think they did a very good job with it. I mean, basically, the sketch is that there's this group of elderly office clerks in, like, this small firm, and they, like, rebel against them by, like, making a pirate ship and want to, like, destroy the large financial district. That's cool, but it goes on for way too long, and I didn't really find it funny. I thought they could have handled that a little bit better, and I can't really fault that, though, because it's not technically a part of the film. It's only the first 15 minutes, and then it actually goes to the actual film. So I can't really say anything about that. Overall, guys, I absolutely love The Meaning of Life. I think it's a comedic masterpiece. I really do. I think it's a film that you definitely need to see. Besides that, I would give this an A+, definitely. Had it not, including the Crimson Permanent Assurance, I give this an A-. But without that, I give it an A+. It's hilarious. Every sketch works. There's not one sketch that I felt did not work. I absolutely loved it. It's comedic gold. It doesn't make sense, but that's why Monty Python works as well as it does. And that's basically my review of my Python, The Meaning of Life. Let me know what you guys think of this movie. You have seen it. I absolutely love this movie. I can't wait for Life of Brian. I can't wait to watch that movie. I'll probably watch it next year, or I might even watch it this year. I'm not really sure. And we'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Pretty Little Liars, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.